Oh, hello. It's Thanksgiving Day in 2011, and I wanted to do a video here. I've been off the board for a while, and I'm still having trouble with my hand, but I'm forcing myself to do one video and do very minimal editing on it. Hopefully, it's going to go in one take because I still don't have good use of my hand for the mouse. But it's an important video. It's not just because it's. I know a lot of people come on and do just about giving thanks, and that's fine, except our board is a little bit different in the sense that we're, first, we're international, so it's not just, we're not dealing with just an American audience. Everybody has their own holidays, and we kind of don't do a whole lot of celebration of holidays. But we want people to be prepared for holidays. And in America, Thanksgiving is kind of the start of a whole holiday season. It's a whole holiday season that a good percentage of the world, though, is going into. And to be honest, I don't know. When do people in Europe or in who celebrate Christmas? When do they actually start the beginning of everything happening on television around Christmas? Our commercials started not just probably a couple of weeks ago, which is maybe a little bit sooner than it used to be. It used to be that they started after Thanksgiving. Now things almost start after Halloween for advertising holidays. But this isn't just information which is, just out there that has no meaning. Not when it comes to people who have quit smoking within the last 365 days. They are now going into a time period where there's triggers that are going to start to happen here to what when they were smokers in the past, certain things were happening at certain times a year, and smoking would be tied into it. And that's why this is important. It's not important because it's Thanksgiving. It's important because of what people do when they're preparing for a holiday like Thanksgiving or any other holiday that you might celebrate. And then with this particular one, it's the whole season that it's leading into, at least again on the American based audience. So I want to talk about that a little bit. There's going to be people who quit smoking in July and who quit smoking in February this year and who quit smoking in, just in December of last year, who all of a sudden are getting triggers that they didn't seem to be experiencing before because we're starting into a holiday season. And the same video could be made in a sense when we get to summer holiday seasons too. Again, the 4th of July for America. There's going to be a whole lot of triggers that people would have experienced then who'd quit smoking in May of last year or who'd quit smoking anytime prior to July of last year. Holidays have certain flavors to them. Flavors not just being tied to the food they're eating, but just to the nuances around them, to the weather that's happening around a holiday, to the types of clothing that you're wearing in a holiday. Things that every other holiday, when you were pulling out those clothes, when you were taking out the apparatus that might be tied to a specific holiday, you had little smoking breaks built into the preparation of what was going on for that holiday. Well, Thanksgiving is classic for that. With Thanksgiving, it's a travel holiday. I'm pretty sure it's the busiest travel day of the year, meaning a lot of people may be going to the airport for the first time, going on a plane for the first time, dealing with, driving in holiday traffic for the first time. So there's going to be a whole bunch of first time events that the last time you did it and the 20 or 30 or 40 years prior of those similar kind of events, you were a smoker. You would light up a cigarette on the way to the airport, smoke 2 or 3 on the way to the airport because you knew once you got to the airport, you couldn't smoke there anymore. Same thing about getting onto the plane. If there was a smoking lounge possibly at the airport, well, man, you'd be in that lounge smoking away before you get on that plane. When you get off the plane, the trigger would be immense until you can get either to that lounge or leave the whole airport, however that situation was. There were a whole bunch of situations that you were encountering in the past that were tied to, again, holiday travel. For people who weren't traveling, oh my gosh, you might have family coming in from out of town. And now you're cleaning the house. You used to have smoking breaks when you were cleaning the house. You're preparing a certain type of meal. You're putting a turkey in the oven. It used to be as soon as you put the turkey in the oven and you got everything done on that level, you'd smoke a cigarette automatically. Well, the first time you go to do that again, You're supposed to smoke a cigarette when you do this. So you're going to have little nuances like that. Again, in house cleaning type of activities that had smoking breaks built in. And now when you get to those little points in time, you're supposed to smoke a cigarette. You'll probably find you're getting things done faster this year than in the past because you're not having to do all those smoking breaks. But again, they're going to be triggers. Then it's what I was alluding to before, the commercials that are on television, the Christmas music starting to play. Every other year when you had those sounds going in the background, if you go to Black Friday kind of shopping events, yeah, smoking was incorporated into all of that. You had to get cigarettes at certain time intervals, and you're just going to have, standing in line. This was your time killer. You're going to find yourself possibly having these urges. Again, when you hear the first Christmas carol, it's going to be you smoked when this was going on in the background. Now, sometimes you won't identify what the trigger is. Again, it might be the Christmas carol in the background, which to you should mean nothing as far as smoking, but it is tied to smoking. So you may get the urge, and you may not make the connection. What's causing the urge at that point in time? Why do I want a cigarette right now? But again, even though you don't understand what the trigger was, by not smoking, you break the trigger. And now the next few times that you hear that, specific carol, it won't be a specific problem. Now again, there may be a different song. And again, there's a whole slew of songs that come out right now. And each one of them may be tied to smoking in your mind for one reason or another. So the holiday is going to have these little situations going on that may very well trigger the thought, I smoke when I do this. I started to allude, family's going to start coming in. Some of them are your smoking family. Well, sure, they're going to be triggers, but also your non-smoking family. The people who used to smoke more before they get there because you had to put up with them and not smoke. The people that you would light up as soon as they would leave. The ones who didn't like you smoking, so you refrained from smoking. You were in withdrawal the whole time you were with them in the past. Now when they leave, you're not in withdrawal, but you still got that automatic reaction. I smoke when those people leave. Again, the first time they leave this year, next year it won't be that big of an issue, but there may be different people. There might be different people for different holidays. You might have different people you see at Christmas time than you see at Thanksgiving. You very well have different people you see at New Year's than you see at Thanksgiving. And again, with New Year's, now we tie in, with the drinking situation of the holiday. So there's a whole bunch of nuances that are going to be starting up at this time of year. The weather this time of year. We're heading into an area where snow will maybe start to come soon. And those will trigger thoughts that you smoke before you put gloves on. Because it's hard to smoke once you put the gloves on. So you used to light up automatically before you get into, the glove situation. So those are going to be triggers. So the purpose of this video is, again, to help people understand, people who are just off for a year or less now, there's going to be a whole lot of new things happening at this point in time that will trigger responses. But understand the difference between these triggers and these wants compared to what it was when you were a smoker first quitting smoking. Because initially, when you start to get these feelings, you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's starting again. You're starting to have these thoughts again. And oh, how hard that may seem. But keep in mind, when you first quit smoking, the first 3 days that you quit, everything you were doing, everything was new. And it was on top of drug withdrawal that was happening concurrently. The thoughts that you're getting now, while it may be catching you off guard, you don't have the withdrawal playing in here, so that variable is out. And generally the intensity is not going to be as strong as what you very well likely experienced in the beginning, where everything was new and you didn't know how to do a darn thing without a cigarette. And you had this fear of the future in a way at that point in time, like what you were experiencing at that moment was going to be happening forever and it was never going to get any better. And you know what? You've got perspective now. Things did get better. So when you get these thoughts now and they hit, and while they catch you off guard and they make you nervous, understand it's a very temporary thing. And you're going back to where you were a week ago and a month ago, where really things were, generally easy overall. This time period may have a few more thoughts tied to it, but still, you got through worse time periods in the past with more thoughts, with physical withdrawal at the same time. And you broke through all that. You'll break through this too. It's a matter, though, of having your guard up, understanding you might have these moments. So, in a way, by prepping yourself, thinking about it in advance, you may not have as many bad moments. It may actually go a little bit easier than it would have been that if you didn't watch this or didn't think about this in advance, and all of a sudden it hit you and you were totally unprepared for it. Being prepared for it. That's what we do a lot at the board. We try to prepare you for things that might happen. Being prepared for it may very well make it seem less traumatic than it could have been otherwise. And it may eliminate some of these things altogether, just by having your guard up. So keep your ammunition strong of why you quit. Keep your reasoning strong of why you want to stay off smoking. There's lots of good reasons. One of those things that I said in the first video that I asked people to watch is, making the list of why you quit. Review that list right now. Reinforce why you stopped smoking. Reinforce why you want to stay off. The more you do that even under, holiday situations and, the good times and bad times, the more you have your reasons for wanting to stay free, secure, the stronger your desire will stay, and the less intense problems you will have, even at these points in time, to be able to stick to your commitment to never take another puff.